Alright, take a look at the bullish momentum we've got going on. It's absolutely insane. This is just madness. When we're in such a positive phase, this is when the things we've been waiting months for are finally happening, right? The structural breakouts, okay? Now, what's going on? We're basically in the middle of a party. What do we see with MicroStrategy? All-time highs, huh? In moments like this, it's good to be aware, like, hey, look at what's happening, right? There's an angle here, things could start happening. It's early to assume this is going to keep going. Incredible how the financial markets are looking right now. What we wanted to see with DOT with great anticipation has finally happened. We were looking for that immediate, strong, and aggressive explosion. That was going to be something very positive for the financial markets, both in the short term and also in the medium term. And fortunately, yes, it has already given us that strong burst we're seeing on this daily chart. Let's move to the 4-hour chart. Our obsession was to see this, the breakout of the wedge, basically, right? To see that black swan event, to see this black swan. That's what we were looking for, and finally, they've broken out with great force. That was the obsession. We know how wedges break. Polkadot is our big obsession. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about this Polkadot wedge. I've been dreaming about it since summer, waiting for that moment, which could be starting now. Let's see. We thought it would break here, but it didn't in the end. And now this could be the moment. Or maybe it's still not, maybe it's not, but the next time we won't let it slip by. Let's see if they decide to make the move now or not. But wedges break with force, a lot of force. This could be the moment. Well, they've done it. Not only did Cardano deliver, but not only Polkadot either. Excuse me, it's made that kind of move too. Cardano has already broken through what we speculated would be a creek and which we thought would be important to breach. Honestly, I was really surprised by the way it happened, but not entirely, considering what we were looking for in Polkadot. And yes, it's true that both Solana and Polkadot, in terms of volatility, have been acting quite similarly lately. So yes, without a doubt, this Friday, this weekend, the working hypothesis was to look for long entries, to stay optimistic. We can see that things are working. It's crazy. It's just crazy, I'm telling you sincerely. Seeing what you've been going through, those trades, those incredible returns, everyone looking for longs on different assets. Here I see Enric going long on DOT, 300%, then on Solana with a 2100% gain. Absolute insanity. Juan Ocam with a 61% on Thon, then later a 90% on Thon as his position improved. Mario with a 60% long on ADA. Dino Castro in HA, a 35% long. In DOT, a 172%. In AIF, a 135%. And in Ethereum, a 219%. You're many. I know you've gone long on numerous crypto assets and diversified well. So, my sincere congratulations to Gabriel XRP, 81%. DOT, 196%. I'm laughing because these are absurd returns. Absurdly positive, incredible. ADA at 445%, Mario Ibasatru at 150% on ADA, Gabriel with 894% on ADA. Well, you're seeing it. Gloria on TRB with a 475%, then Gabriel again with a 1300% in ADA, 670% in DOT, and 458% in XRP. These kinds of returns are undoubtedly not something you'd see in traditional markets, the stock market, futures, or Forex. This only comes from crypto. Cesar Quijada, a long on ADA, 745%. Well, this is related to the last post, but throughout the week, you've also been sending long trades from lower positions, which are also truly impressive. Beyond those of you who have messaged me privately, there are several of you, I have to say. Over the last 2 weeks, many of you have been writing to me privately, sending your screenshots, which are also outrageous. So, I wanted to take this moment to applaud you all, honestly, to give a round of applause for the work you're doing, which is truly remarkable. It's insane how much this community is improving. It's absolutely wild. Let's get started. Let's get started with the analysis. Now, first, a very quick look at the traditional market. We're seeing the SHIB 500 at all-time highs. It's continued upwards, still very bullish. We're at record highs. What more can we say? Nasdaq, same story. Record highs and still climbing. Truly, a very positive narrative is building around financial markets. Soon, we'll have a meeting with the Fed and also with the European Central Bank. Let me check the calendar. Not so soon, not as soon as I thought. I had it mapped out differently. I said it in the end. Also, with the elections, as I've mentioned before, we don't need to pay too much attention. They're done, so we can thank them for offering these bullish catalysts we were looking for. Taking elections out of the equation completely, timing-wise, it has aligned perfectly. That's when it's time to be a bit suspicious. In the end, you all know how this goes. But then, we also need to think about what what's on the mind of the retail investor right now, right? What is the retail investor thinking? We just had an election. Trump won. The market has reacted very positively, and now the SHIB and Nasdaq are at all-time highs. The average thought is only a fool wouldn't buy. That's the mindset. But we need to be cautious here. Don't assume anything is a given. For instance, Gallo's Hermanos sent us a picture saying, "We are here right at the bottom," suggesting there could be a strong upward movement. That's precisely the current mentality of the average retail investor. But this doesn't mean that smart money will necessarily use that liquidity to crash the market. Catalysts can be used differently, okay? For that very reason, even when we see price overextensions to the upside like we've had week after week, we've kept pushing upward ourselves. This is what the market was telling us to do. So what I'm saying is, this situation doesn't automatically mean that just because we're all aware the retail investor thinks only a fool wouldn't buy, we must also assume the opposite perspective. Yes, it's plausible to think, from a contrarian perspective, that they might bring the market down to absorb liquidity. And yes, of course, that's something to consider, but we shouldn't take it as a certainty. We could have had this same reflection on Friday, Thursday, or Wednesday, right? But we didn't want to force this perspective then. I don't want to give this reflection too much weight. We'll analyze it now, but it's simply a reminder to keep our feet on the ground, okay? Still, you'll see we have clear mechanisms in place to track the upward trend and determine when we may need to slow down a bit. We'll review several interesting points and draw conclusions from there, and I'm confident we'll see some useful insights. Let's approach this live session in the same way. We're in a positive period where things we've been waiting months for are happening, right? Structural breakouts, macro trends, breaking out of that wedge. How long have we been talking about this descending wedge in dot that we wanted to see break out aggressively? Months, 3 months, easily, just following the wedge slowly declining, right? What's happening? We're basically in the moment of celebration. We're at the point where things are already happening, they're unfolding. It's all underway, right? Let's say it like it is. What do we see in MicroStrategy? All-time highs, huh? This is what I was mentioning. In moments like these, it's helpful to look at the chart from a broader perspective. That's why we've been doing it consistently on Friday, Thursday, and Wednesday, taking in the big picture to be aware of what's happening. Because if we only focus on M15 on shorter time frames, we lose the perspective of the macro context. And right now is the time to zoom out to say, hey, look at what's happening. Sometimes we get so fixated on the 1-hour chart because we love it and work on it daily. But it's like diving in a pool or the ocean. It's fun, diving is great, but every now and then you need to come up for air or you're lost. It's the same here. There are key moments when you need to come up for air. And that's what last week was about. We've been coming up for air and we're going to keep doing so because we've been diving for quite a while. That's the context with MicroStrategy. Let's go to the daily. And what are we seeing? We're seeing this bearish impulse we devised, and here we have its corrective pattern, the W, then a Y, a basic concept, and then a Z, a Xi we don't want to reverse. At the time, remember that this wedge you see drawn here was different. It was much more aggressive. We evaluated the breakout, saw where the Z trend line was, and decided that if it didn't break, it would continue. If that happened, we talked about repositioning the wedge, which we just did. Here we have the wedge repositioned, and the Z continues. That's why it's so important not to try to reverse a Z. We've gone over this concept so much that it's not even worth talking about anymore. So, we're in that aggressive Z. What is MicroStrategy telling us? Why change direction? So, a Z pattern. If they gave you 2 options to hit a buy or sell button and put a gun to your head, saying you have to press one now, no matter what stage of the Z you're in, which button would you press? What do you say, buy or sell? Jordi R says green, Antonio says buy. Everyone who's chosen the buy button. Alfonso says buy. Javier says buy. Correct. Notice, just a couple of weeks ago with Huge. Don't worry, Huge will be back soon. We were discussing, I don't remember which asset, in a different time frame, maybe on the 1-hour chart. I'm not sure if it was Cardano or Polkadot, but we were analyzing whether we were at the beginning of a Z formation, which ultimately did end up being a Z. So I asked myself from the starting module, of course you should buy a Z, obviously. The hard part is knowing when it's going to start, and it's very easy to be wrong. It's very speculative. When is it less easy to get it wrong? When it's already developed. It's obvious now. We knew it was a Z a while ago, didn't we? The more developed it is, the easier it is to see. So what I'm trying to say is, you all answered correctly. You should buy. Why? Because you don't know how far it's going to go. We have no idea. When will it stop? No clue. There will come a point where, yes, it might try to break, but it could fail and continue. It could try to break, but again, it could fail and continue. And look at the Z. See how we control it. One day it might break strongly and attack its trend line, and maybe it will lose it, or maybe it won't, and we'll start seeing something else at a structural level. But this is how we follow it. And right now, we're at a point to press the buy button. You should buy the Z until when? Well, we'll switch to alert mode as soon as we see a strong, aggressive wedge breakout. It won't mean everything is lost. It just means we're on alert, just like here. Here, it tried to break its wedge, so we were on alert. We knew what we needed to watch for, what had to happen for us to stay positive or go negative. We were on alert, and in the end, it kept rising. So, MicroStrategy, which is a good proxy, a very good proxy for Bitcoin. That's why we have MicroStrategy here. Who has MicroStrategy on their list of crypto assets? It's worth thinking about. MicroStrategy, we've talked about this 1,000 times. The correlation and everything it helps us with. It's been incredibly useful, and right now it's helping us a lot. But it also tells us, look at Bitcoin. If we switch to the weekly time frame, we're in a macro bullish channel. We've even removed the defense zone here, the bearish channel. What did we want? The black swan here. There we go. It's been achieved. Great. So, what were we saying? There's room to rise to the top. There's room, look at all that room for it to keep climbing. But yes, it makes sense that some things might start happening here. We'll see. We'll see. Right. Makes sense. We're on the weekly chart, yeah? Let's move to the daily. Otherwise, this is going to be overwhelming. Down to daily, then down to 4 hours, then 1 hour. Here we are. Take a look at this bullish momentum. It's absolutely wild. This is crazy, seriously. And now we're approaching a key point that could bring some kind of pause in the market. We've been so bullish. For me, this can keep going up, right? But hey, we're approaching a relevant macro structure that'll make us a bit more watchful. We're getting close. Right before starting this session, I spent quite a while recalibrating the bullish channel, adjusting a lot of angles, and the one that convinced me the most was this one. I think they're working with this. But before that, welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity. So, yes, there's still an upward path, still a way to go. But there's not much left before we might start asking ourselves some questions. It doesn't mean that as soon as it reaches here, it'll just crash. Not at all. But here, we might see more than just words. People might start to wonder about things, and we'll see how we approach it. In the end, I'm confident, really confident. Strong word, but I'm convinced that sooner or later, we'll remove this forever, right? Forever. And that in the distant future, this channel we have drawn won't even be relevant on the chart. I think it might be used in the short term to tell us here. Don't go up so freely, right? Because here there's an angle. Some things could happen here. But sooner or later, this will continue. We're not losing our bullish perspective. Not at all. This correction, ignore it. Don't pay attention to this drawing. I just want to convey a concept here. It could actually be a much shorter pause, just a brief one. They might give us a little pause here. I don't want to draw it out because honestly, I'm not sure. Let's wait for it to reach here first. But there's going to be noise here. There's going to be noise. There's going to be noise. I'm very convinced there's going to be noise. It might bring some disruption, a bit of distance, maybe not as deep as the last move we saw, and then it might just leave and we forget about this channel. We'll see how it goes, okay? Now's not the time, but it is the time to say, hey, we're here at this ceiling, right? We're here at this ceiling, this very ceiling. Remember, in the past, those of you who have been around on the channel for a while, this helped us understand that there was no need to buy more here, all right? And then the bear market came, which everyone here already knows well. It's the same structure, all right? 2 years later, we're back talking about the same structure, but I don't think this is going to be endless, right? It won't be a back and forth ping pong forever. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. If not, crypto might be less appealing on a macro level. I'm talking macro, but I think they'll use this angle one more time as a macro pause and then finally break through it. And we'll forget about this structure. That's what I have in mind right now. The brothers agree too, all right? So here we have Ethereum. Let's start going down a bit, okay? We're in a very intense season. This is Ethereum. This is Ethereum. We were talking about this accumulation process, right? That it might come to pass and all. The black move is already taking us to the target. We're getting close to the target now. At the same time, it's also a Z, okay? We'll have to see how it forms a wedge because it's very aggressive. Alright? For me, it's a ZBE, and it'll need close monitoring. This is in H4, right? This is Ethereum. It's almost at the target. I'm also looking here at the volume profile of this distribution to see what it might tell us, to understand which price levels could be somewhat problematic. In the potential future, if this Z decides to continue continue, we'll already be thinking about what those potential points might be that could cause some issues in this beautiful upward movement we're witnessing. That's kind of what we're seeing. I don't want the message to be misunderstood. We remain positive in the short, medium, and long term, all right? That's important. In the short, medium, and long term, we remain positive. I'm simply putting some things on the table for consideration. We're going to pay attention to key zones that might suggest a possible pause. Nothing certain. We're simply going to observe. That said, we remain positive on Cardano. We're in the Z. We've reached the target, haven't we? Who knows? Now, we'll need to start looking for a wedge, right? We'll need to start looking for a wedge. Let's see how they want to do it. We'll keep watching. Maybe they'll break it soon. Or maybe not. The Z just keeps going, and that's it. Or they'll break it like MicroStrategy did, and even if it breaks, the party continues. You get what I'm saying. We update the wedge. That's what we need to be watching, right? We're approaching a target that also takes on the Z form. Almost as if to say, well, this could be the end, but maybe not. We're not here trying to guess the future. We never aim to do that, and we're not trying now, but that's where we are. I'd continue prioritizing looking for longs. If the party does end, if it's going to end, it would likely be temporary, and we'll see it clearly. How will we see it? Well, let's say Serum's price doesn't reach the institutional target. Imagine it doesn't break through, or it sets a trap or something. It could break the wedge, work on a trend line, and then break it. There's time to see this unfold. If that happens, well, maybe we'd say, maybe I believe Bitcoin might react a bit, do something, and then potentially continue. They'll give us signs as we go. Now we're going to see many assets more transparently, allowing us to form clearer thoughts. You'll see this now. Look at BNB. This stream might be a bit long, but we've been going for 28 minutes and it won't stretch out too much more. Yeah. Before we start with BNB, I want to mention that Javier, the new member of Crypto Premium, has already posted on Telegram saying he'll reach out privately to organize special live sessions and such. Just so you know, for those participating in this stream, the goal of the stream is to support those volunteers who offer to contribute to this great, positive initiative. The aim is for them to share some theory or technical analysis based on their work, their own findings, or things they're focused on, keeping it very theoretically focused on something interesting and simple. Each participant will get about 20 minutes at most to present. We'll do it in 2 rounds, and in those 20 minutes, they'll explain a key concept they really like, whether it's something of their own or something from the methodology we work with here. It could even be a variant, anything that seems interesting, not just for them, but for the rest of the community and worth sharing. Now, looking at BNB in the 4-hour chart, you can see it's broken the creek. It's working what could be a flat pattern, showing a lot of volatility. The creek break happened the way it should, with strength. It made a test, pulled back, and then broke through with force, massive volume, and a clearly ask-oriented delta. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, what is BNB saying here? What does BNB want to tell us with this? BNB is saying, hey, the long trend in crypto could keep going strong. If we're viewing this as an accumulation process, then once this flat pattern breaks, we're looking at a 1-to-1 target, right? Oh, that's why we shouldn't think, oh, the bull runs over just because Bitcoin is at the top of the macro channel. Maybe, but I don't believe so. I think there's still room to grow. I think we still have a path ahead, and in the end, assets like BNB will show us. If it breaks that flat pattern, then we'll know. In a possible flat pattern break, even though we're positive, we'll need to sell, right? If it does this and breaks, we should sell in case it's a trap, and later, it turns out to be fake. We don't know. So if we're speculating, it doesn't matter if it goes against our directional idea, which is to look for longs. But we'll discuss that scenario later. I'm only anticipating a potential event. If it happens, we'll communicate that the best option is to sell at that point, even if we're still positive. It's worth trying, but well, that hasn't happened yet, so I don't want to get ahead of things. We need to assess this. We're in a flat pattern. The flat pattern doesn't have to be brief. Not at all. Look how large this accumulation is. A flat pattern could give us a macro pattern, a false break, and then, if it wants, it can take off. I think there's still distance left for the flat pattern. Look how well it aligns with Bitcoin, which is in that sideways bearish but bullish channel. It's now at the top of that channel, and I'm telling you, it makes sense for the price to move around a bit. Maybe to take a pause, pull back, who knows? And then continue, letting us forget about the channel entirely. In the end, it aligns with this need we're seeing in BNB. Here, we're crossing analysis, which is why we're gathering this information. I'm talking in very macro terms with a 4-hour time frame, but that's where our thoughts are now, okay? Look at Solana. It's at an all-time high. They'd love to throw in a little trap, wouldn't they? Why not? But yes, Solana is also at an all-time high. Of course, in the short, medium, and long term, we're still positive. Yes, definitely. It's tough to want to sell here. here. It really is. So, what do we have here? The impulse, the W, the weaker I, and now we're in a Z. Let's follow along with the Z. Here's the click. It's been really helpful, but now it's time to track the Z and see what it does. 4-hour time frame, all right? Now, what did we say before unanimously? Do we want to sell the rise of a Z? No, we said no. One thing that could happen tomorrow is that we might use Solana as a proxy for a global analysis of everything, all right? It makes sense. And here, imagine Bitcoin's chart or Ethereum's. If you remember the structures, imagine the behavior I'll reflect on Solana. It makes sense for the market to keep climbing a bit more, then shake us around, burn some time, then continue and take off. If this happens with other assets, you can imagine it, right? It makes sense. It really does. That's why I'm saying we remain positive overall. From where we are now, the direction is upward. We're also saying it makes sense for the price to take a pause. We're seeing how pauses can happen and why, and we're also tracking it. And if things don't go as we think, we'll know soon enough, right? We'll be talking about it already. Look at Cardano. It's absolutely wild. We were looking for this creek break. In the end, we realized this creek is an advanced trend line of a larger creek. Look where Cardano is now. It's important to keep updating and seeing what's happening. All right, we started the live session earlier and seeing the long trades you're all sharing. It's no surprise you're winning, right? With everything we're experiencing. So what's happening now? It's showing an advanced trend line, very typical before reaching for a bigger creek like this one. It's already tried to reach it but hasn't touched it yet. It may still hit it, but it doesn't matter much. That's why I was saying we don't know exactly how, but it might go up again. Though it feels odd to think it will break and just take off, seeing Bitcoin's and Ethereum's current state. There's no need to make drastic moves, of course not. But we're at a stage where they might try to break downwards and fail, and we're betting on that failure for continuity. As I was saying, they'll try, get compressed, and then continue upward. But it'll need a brief pause too, because at the start of this session, what did we say? What's the average retail investor thinking now? Anyone who isn't buying is missing out. Now, when you go get your coffee, maybe at your usual spot, the guy who serves it will say, "Hey, you're into crypto, right? Now's the time to buy, isn't it?" When you hear that from the guy at the bar, well, don't buy. That's when the big players know the general public wants to jump in. The takeaway here is clear. The Crypto Insight Premium community has been buying from the bottom. You've been showing it. We've been talking about going long every single day for weeks. That's the reality. So you're all super calm and secure. Now, maybe the question is for those who haven't bought in yet. Now might not be the best time. Now, people will jump in just because it seems obvious, right? That's when it feels easy, and adding on at this point is just a way of saying it. Don't take it personally. I'm speaking in macro terms here, of course, definitely. And look, if I'm saying this without knowing the future, and then the price just keeps climbing, I'll be here saying, I doubt it will happen. And then tomorrow it does. We can never be sure of that. It's impossible to know. But everything I'm sharing here makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? It really does. I'm pretty sure that tomorrow we'll see better opportunities than we do today. I'm quite convinced. Look at Cardano, or rather Polkadot. How it's already broken that ancient wedge we talked about, right? We've been working on this one for months, expecting a strong breakout here, but it didn't happen right away. There was one more shakeout, and then we said, all right, after this small fake out here, which we valued as a chance to buy, it finally made sense to break the wedge. And now it's done it with strength, just how we wanted to see it. So they've broken it, even took down a creek along the way all at once. This is a moment where some decisions are being made, right? Let's switch to the 4-hour chart. What will we look for here? Well, we'll see if they form a flat pattern. Maybe start speculating and watch how things unfold today. For me, today's a pretty important day, which is why I'm saying we'll have good opportunities tomorrow. We'll see if it's long or short trades, talking about futures trading, intraday trading. That's what we do here. Tomorrow will be an excellent day for finding setups, right? And now, with DOT, what should we be looking at? Is this breakout real? Yes or no? Well, we'll see if it needs to take some time. Maybe a false breakout, a small trap, and then let it run. This idea fits with what we've been discussing, right? It all aligns well with the fact that we might be in for a pause, a brief pause before things continue, and we'll see how that goes. We'll update the analysis as things unfold. And if you'd like to join Crypto Insight Premium, where we conduct daily live sessions looking for specific trading opportunities, I can now tell you that the access form is open for a limited time. To join Crypto Insight Premium, you need to meet 3 requirements. The first requirement is to be a user of Bitunix or BuyDefi using our referral code. You need to have deposited at least $100 worth of crypto in your account and be using this account as your main futures trading account. You need to be actively trading. Once you've met these 3 requirements, you can fill out the form, and within 72 business hours, we'll grant you access. Join Crypto Insight Premium, where we all learn a lot every day. I'll leave the link to this form in the description description and in the pinned comment of this video. Alright everyone, we'll wrap it up here. This session was more long-term focused because it was important to update the situation. I think it's essential we discuss this today. So once again, congratulations on your trades. It's incredible, just amazing. It's clear this community is working hard and improving day by day, which makes us really happy to see. If you enjoyed this advanced technical analysis, let me know in the comments. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so YouTube notifies you of future posts. Good luck with your trading, and until next time,